Changing minds one thought at a time.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Empowering Women series on Changing Minds Online. Today, I am all by myself. Jessica is having a family function, but she will be back on Sunday for more of our lovely listening fun. But today, without further ado, I will be talking to a wonderful, dynamic, empowering living coach, Mrs. Cheryl Pullen. How are you doing today, Cheryl?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I am great. And so excited to have you on the show. I've heard you speak many, many times, and I am just truly honored that you're here.
Well, I'm excited to be here. It's always an honor to share with people in their community, and I'm always honored when someone wants to introduce me to their community. So I am thrilled to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. So today we are talking about the 5 ways to eliminate the struggle with the juggle. So tell us about that.
Well, it really is about this idea, if I had to nutshell it for a second, it really is about this idea about life balance. We spend a lot of time trying to, get our lives in balance and in pursuit of life balance, but the truth of the matter is there are going to be times where your life is just not going to be, everything is not going to be even keel. You're not going to have 5s across the board or 10s across the board or, pick your number. There are going to be times where some things are going to be just kind of out of whack. Some things will require more attention than others. We have so many different roles. Women, we have so many different roles. We play so many different roles at any given moment on any given day. And this, I've done this presentation a lot. It's actually one of my top presentations that's requested because people are trying to find a way to live their lives without being stressed out about it. Yeah. And that's really, 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 what this talk is about. And every single time I do it, people are kind of floored by some of the activities we do because it brings to light how they're living their lives and they don't even realize it. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're chatting about. So did you want me to jump in with the 5?
Certainly. I would love to hear them.
All right, absolutely. So, when working on this, and I've been doing this particular talk with just a few minimal tweaks. I've probably been doing it for 3 years or so. And when I started working on it, the reason why I chose it is because I became an entrepreneur, and I realized that there were some things in my life that were becoming a priority. And there were some things in my life that were a priority at one time that had scooched over because I had become an entrepreneur. So trying to live my life day to day and be realistic about myself. And then as I moved forward and I kept working on this particular talk, and I kept living my own life because this is birthed out of me living my own life, I realized there were really 5 things that I had to pay attention to, become aware of in order to live my life so that I am not always focusing on being overwhelmed, always focusing on struggling with all the different things and hats that I wear. I'm taking a moment to assess where I am, what I'm doing. Now, of course, it's not always perfect. Life happens. I always tell people, give room for life to happen because it's going to. It's going to. So let me share with you these five tips that I have. The first one is that you need to get really clear about what it is you desire, what it is you want. I think this is the one that gets overlooked. I really think this is the one that gets overlooked. We are so, in particular as women, we are so committed to being nurturers of others that we forget to nurture ourselves, that we forget to ask ourselves the question, what is it that we want? What is it that we desire? How do we want to live our lives on a day-to-day basis? It's so key. It's so important. This fall, I went to Oprah's Life You Want tour. I went to the Newark one, and she was talking about her love for reading. And I remember her saying that her day is structured around her ability to get into the bed by a certain time at night with a book. And I thought, well, that's pretty amazing, you know. And most of the books that, you know, I know of that she reads in that time, or they're usually fiction. And she talks about getting lost in someone else's story. And I'm like, what a fabulous thing to do. Here is this woman worth more than $1 billion, you know, owner of a network and all the different things that she has going on. And she says her crown jewel of her day is, 1, her 4 o'clock ritual tea, and 2, being able to get in the bed by a certain time to read a book. And I thought, that's absolutely fabulous. And I believe that we have to structure our lives around those desires, because those are the things that keep us from burning out. Those are the things that keep us from going into complete overwhelm, having a total meltdown, because we're not taking time for ourselves. So the first one is clarify what you desire, what you want. How do you want to live your life on a day-to-day basis? What do you want to do when you wake up in the morning? Is the first thing you do, is it really grab the phone and see what's going on social media that you missed overnight? Is that really it, or is that the habit you've created? Be real intentional about what it is that you want. That's the first place to start. And that's the priority, because everything after that will find its place. When you set the priority that you are going to be first, and I know some people they're going to say, oh, that's selfish, but I have children, I need this, I need that. I'm going to talk about children in a minute. All right, so the second one is clarify your roles. What do I mean when I say clarify your roles? What I mean is, you heard me say earlier, we play different roles any given moment throughout the day. For example, in the morning you could wake up wife. You know, you could have wife things you need to do. 30 minutes later, you could be mom. You could have mom things you need to do, helping the kids get dressed or whatever, getting them out to school, getting them to the school bus. And maybe after that, you're an employee, or you're an employer, or you're an entrepreneur, or you're volunteering at the school, or you're volunteering at the church, or take your pick. So now you've hit all these different roles, but you're a wife, you're a mother, you're a sister, you could be an aunt, you could be a volunteer at the church, and you could be a part of an organization, and maybe in that organization you have a role. When I do this live, I actually have the participants list out every role that they play at any given moment. And the women just go crazy because they're like, oh, my gosh, look at all of these different roles. I remember one lady, she's like, I have 18 different roles here. And then I'm just looking at them, I go, yes, and you wonder why you feel overwhelmed. And, of course, you're not playing them all at the same time, but at any given moment you're playing them. And, of course, in a day you could probably hit about 5, 6, 7 of them easy. And you've already potentially started off the day with not taking care of yourself, not nurturing yourself, but nurturing everyone else. So clarify your roles. The third thing is you have to learn how to delegate. I did this presentation in the fall, and I did it for a group of women who work for the correction system, and I tell you, it was the most amazing thing, because a lot of these women, there were two things I noticed about them. One was they would wake up anywhere between 4 and 4:30 in the morning, and 2, many of them had a commute that was over an hour both ways. So those were two things that stood out. But the stuff that they would say that they had to do, either before they went to work or after they got home. So one of the ladies, I pointed out, I'm very interactive in my presentation slide. I said to her, I said, you have children? She said, yes. I said, how old are they? She told me. I said, and what are their chores? What are their responsibilities? So she hemmed and hawed, of course, and told me all the things that they have to do after school and things like that. I said, so? So you're waking up at 4:30 in the morning to commute an hour or more to work, and they can't, do whatever you need done. And she finally went, wow, you're right. I really need to solicit their help. Yes. Learn to delegate, either to your children. If your children are 3, they're 4, they're 5, and they're playing with toys, they are big enough to put the toys back. You teach them how to do that. They get to another certain age, you give them other chores and responsibilities. You're teaching them to be responsible. It turns into a lesson. We as women, especially as moms, we think we have to do everything for our children, and we don't, because we eventually wind up handicapping them to the point where now they won't do anything for themselves and they rely on you for everything. And that throws you into overwhelm. Learn to delegate. Learn to delegate. If you are cooking dinner and that's the thing that you want to do, then everybody else gets to clean the kitchen.
Right.
You have to learn how to do that, and it's a shifting of your own mindset. It's being willing to give up the control. No, they're not going to do it the way you do it. No, it's not going to be totally perfect. But over time, they'll learn how to do it. They'll learn how to do it, and you'll buy yourself some time. And the fourth thing is, you have to set boundaries. You have to set your own boundaries. People will only do what you allow them to do. If every time they ask and you say yes, then you've set up the expectation. So the expectation is every time I ask you for something, you're going to say yes because you always have. You have to shift that. Because a lot of times we say yes, and we are so mad at ourselves because we said yes. We're angry, but we committed to it. We can't. You've committed to it, and that's the expectation, and that's just the way it is. Everybody else is happy, the other person's happy, the organization's happy, and you're miserable. Again, determine what it is that you desire, how you want to live your life on a day-to-day basis, and set boundaries. Set those boundaries. As an entrepreneur, there are certain boundaries you can set. You cannot, do certain things after a certain time, or at least create windows of opportunity where you allow yourself to breathe, catch up, take time for yourself, go sit somewhere with a book and a cup of tea and decompress, whatever it is that you need to do to find your center, if you will. But set those boundaries and then communicate those boundaries. This is a twofold one. You set the boundaries and you got to communicate the boundaries. Communicate those boundaries to the people around you, be it a spouse, be it your business partners, be it your children, be it your family, whoever. Communicate the boundaries. Let them know, okay, you know what? I have to do this for my own sanity. And as a result, I won't be doing this. I need you to do this, whatever it is that you need them to do or not do, communicate that. Don't just change, set boundaries, and then don't say anything to anybody, because that can cause a little bit of a rift. But be open, communicate, let people know. We teach people how to treat us. It might be cliche, but it's the truth. And they only get accustomed to interacting with us and asking us for things and doing things. They only get accustomed to it because we've allowed them to do it. At first it might be a little rocky. People might go, wait a minute, hold on, what's this new thing you're doing, or why are you changing, or whatever it is. And honestly, you don't owe anyone an explanation for that. You don't have to justify with anyone why you want to reclaim your life and your time. Because that's another thing that we as women feel like we have to justify why we want to say no. Well, you've heard it. We've heard it. No is a complete sentence. I don't really owe you anything after that if I choose not to. And it really is just a way of reclaiming yourself, of not looking for other people to give you permission and validation to live the life that you want to live. And that's what this is a part of. You get to create your own life based on the way you want to live, the desires that you have, and then you can set the boundaries to help you move in that direction. The fifth one, and I said it already, is just, learn to say no. You have to learn to say no. You don't have to be, I always tell people, you don't have to be mean. Saying no is not being mean, and I think sometimes it's perceived that way. It has more of a negative thing. You don't have to be mean. You can say, you know what, I'm really sorry. I just can't fit another thing on my plate today, or this week, or next month, or, can you wait, or, can I find someone else to help you and assist you, whatever. Be helpful, but be firm. And let them know that you can't do it, that you're not available, that you don't even have the mental or physical capacity to meet the needs that they have. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's our own ego that needs the stroking, so we say yes to everything because we have an internal need to be needed. So we say, yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll be there. Yes, I'll show up. I can't believe you asked me to do something for you. You asked me to participate. You asked me to plan your party. You asked me to whatever, go down the list. And that is a stroke of the ego, and we feel fabulous. And then after the high comes down and life sets in, and we're like, oh, my gosh, I really don't have time. I don't have time. I can't get it all done. So you really have to learn how to say no. So those are the 5 things. One is get clarity about what it is that you desire, how you desire to live your life on a day-to-day basis and make decisions around that. 2, get clear about the different roles that you play through the course of a day. And really that's just for your own personal awareness so that you can realize and understand that you are constantly shifting and moving from one mindset to another, from one hat to another, from one thing to another, your wife, your mom, your employer, your entrepreneur, your volunteer, you're all these different things. You could be the taxi driver, you could be soccer mom, you could be football mom, all these different things in the course of a day. That's just so you are aware of what's happening with you. 3, learn how to delegate. Learn how to delegate. Get real good at that. 4, set boundaries and communicate them. Set boundaries and communicate them. 5, learn to say no. Because no is a complete sentence. Those are my thoughts.
Oh, my goodness. Those were so powerful. So now, I love number 5, learn to say no. That seems to be very hard for women today. Tell us how you would, or what advice you would give to women who are really struggling with this.
Struggling with learning how to say no?
Yes, ma'am.
What my advice is really you're gonna have to you gotta practice. Because anything if it's not easy, you just have to practice. You really have to practice. Even if you have to stand in the mirror and say, no. No. Find your feel. I believe, you have a feeling when you say a certain thing. Find how it feels to you. Say it until it feels right, it feels good. The first few times you say it, you might stumble over it. The first few times someone asks you something, you might say no and then keep talking and feel like you owe a lot of explanation and stuff. But the more you do it, the better it will become. And that's the truth. And it is going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle, again, because as women, we are natural nurturers. And then, remember, I talked about the ego, and then our ego is layered on top of that. So saying yes feeds both of those. Saying no is counterintuitive to that. So you have to teach yourself how to say no. And it is going to be a struggle, but you're going to have to learn how to do it. I'm not saying you have to say no all the time to everything, but again, it goes back to being clear about what it is you desire, creating priority out of that based on the life you want to live, and then go, and filter requests through that. It's like, okay, you know what? Maybe this week I can only take requests. I can only take maybe 3 requests this week of people from people outside of, what it is I need to do. Again, people are going to think it's selfish. People aren't going to understand all of those kinds of things. But based on the life you want to live, there's certain decisions you're going to have to make, and it's not going to make everybody happy. And you are going to have to learn how to be okay with that if you really want to live the way you desire to live. So my recommendation, if you're really struggling with saying no, practice saying no.
And that can actually lead into the setting and the communicating of the boundaries. Saying no could be one of the boundaries, learning, saying, okay, you only get this many requests this week, and after that the answer will be no.
Absolutely, because there you go. You've already preset the boundary, you've communicated it, and everybody's clear, or the person is clear, or whoever, that they're clear. You got 3 times, and after that you already know. That's a great approach to it.
So basically all of these are really intertwined. So let's say once they've learned what they want, then they have to, start learning how to delegate, clarifying the role, setting the boundaries. So in the end, they'll be able to say no because they are investing in themselves.
See how that all goes together?
Yes, that is definitely. Because, women, we really need to realize that we are important just as much as our children, as our husbands, as our job, whatever it is. We need to take the same time that we give to them and give to ourselves.
Well, and that's exactly why I started with being clear about what it is you desire, because we skip that. Most things that we do as women, we skip over what it is we want, and we immediately jump to what everyone else needs from us or wants of us. We immediately jump to that. And we skip over what we want. And that's where regret and bitterness sets in. Because we get down the road and we've spent so much time and energy on everybody else's stuff, and then we get flustered and frustrated and bitter and regretful because we haven't done anything that we've wanted for ourselves to get us closer to where we desire to be. And that's exactly why I started with getting clear about what you desire.
Exactly. I meet women all the time that are saying, I am ready to reclaim my life. I am ready to make that first step into it's all about me. And, I've given to my children. I've given to my family. I've given to my friends. But now it's time for me to give to me. So what do you say to these women who are ready, right there on the cusp, ready to embark on them, ready to invest in them? What do you say to those women?
I say get started. Now, let me kind of give a little caveat here to some of this, because what women have to understand, and I think this is very key and vital, you have to understand what season of life you're in. Because understanding your season allows you to determine kind of your capacity for, setting boundaries and things like that. Some women are in a season where it really is about nurturing and taking care of their children and their family. Sometimes that is the season. But you have to know within yourself what season you're in. Sometimes it's the season of, no, you all are old enough to handle what you need to handle. I'm going to be over here doing what I need to do. Just know that I'm here. Touch base if you need me, but this is the way it's going to be. So you have to know what season you're in, because you don't want to make the wrong decisions in the wrong season, because that can wreak havoc. So you have to be real clear about what seasons you're in your life, and then navigate that way. But if you're in a season where you are ready to take hold of your life and reclaim your life, if that's where you are, then do it. Reconnect with yourself. Find out what your desires are, what it is you want, what are the things that you've abandoned and tossed to the side. So I talk to so many women, I ask them the question, what are the things that you have abandoned and tossed to the side that you desired that you have not accomplished yet, and you've been talking about it for the last 25 years? Go back and get that. Don't start nothing new. Go back and get those things that you wanted, that you've always wanted. If you follow me on social media, I've just moved to Florida. Well, me living in Florida, that's something I've always desired for more than 20 years. I had a short stint from 2010 to 2012, and I vowed that I would move back to Florida, and I had it all mapped out. It happened a little differently than I had anticipated, and it happened a whole lot sooner than I anticipated, but I did it. I had a window, and I took advantage of the window because it was a desire that I've had. And I'm like, let's do it. Let me do it now. So be sensitive to what seasons you're in, and if this is your season for you to reclaim your life and really pursue the desires of your heart so you can live the life that you really, really desire, do it. Find out, reconnect with yourself. Find out what it is you need to do. If you need to go back to school, go back to school. If you need to, take a class, take a class. If you're ready to start a business, start the business. But don't let another moment go past and you're living your life based on what everybody else wants of you and from you, and you're miserable. That's no way to live. Nobody starts off life with that desire.
Yes. So now, if something has touched the people on the line today and they want to get to talk to you and get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Okay, so they can go to, first they can email me. They can email me at Cheryl@iCoachWomen.com. That's CHERYL @iCoachWomen.com. They can go to my website, iCoachWomen.com. They can put their name in the little box there, and they'll get an email from me. Well, actually, they'll get what I call notes of sweetness from me every week that encourages and inspires them and empowers them in their journey of living the life they truly desire. They can connect with me on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm all over social media.
And I hear that you have a very special event coming up tomorrow. Tell us about it.
Oh, my gosh. Yes. So tomorrow I am speaking for a TEDx event, and it's truly amazing. It's an honor. TED Talks are just phenomenal, and to be asked to do a TED Talk is such an amazing honor, and it came about because I spoke for women working in corrections about 2 months ago in the state of Pennsylvania, and I had fun. I had great time with there were 800 in attendance total, and I had a session that had about 150 women in there, and we had a blast. Well, apparently someone in the room talked about how much fun they had in my session and gave my name to the Secretary of Corrections for the state of Pennsylvania, and they have this event that's coming tomorrow, and it is the first TEDx event being held at a woman's prison. And it is such an honor to be part of that historical moment I am beside myself. I am here now in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Tomorrow I'll be going to the Muncie State Correctional Institution for Women, and it is a full-day event from 9 to 4, and I'll be sharing the stage with Piper Kerman, who is the inspiration behind Orange is the New Black, the hit Netflix original. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be just beyond anything my wildest dreams. And I have a full, TED Talk, they're very strict about time. I have a full 10 minutes. I have a full 10 minutes to speak to about 200 people, women who are incarcerated, some of which will never get out. That is just such an honor. It's such an honor, yeah.
Well, I am so glad that we're able to celebrate this with you.
I am too. I am too.
Yes,
so
and will you be? Yes, and we'll be looking forward to the replays for that. And of course, we'll be reaching out to you at Cheryl at iCoachWomen.com and all the social media platforms that you're on as well. Oh, absolutely. I appreciate you so much for coming on today. It's truly been an honor, as I said.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure and honor to be here with you and all your people.
Yes, and I put all the information in the event, so you're welcome to go to Facebook under the event and get all of our contact information. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening today. I know that all of you were touched by what Cheryl Pullins had to say today. She gave us some great nuggets. So
awesome.
If you would
Thank you.
this, yes, if you would like this call, please go to iTunes, TuneIn, Podomatic, and Stitcher. And, of course, you can always go to the archives at changingmindsonline.com. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Bye-bye.